Now let's talk about what the budget really means, the big picture, if you will. This, as I've been saying, was an interim budget. It's not the done deal. It's almost a teaser. The real budget will be shown in July after the general election, which means this was more of a business as usual document, which is why there weren't too many tweaks, neither to tax slabs nor to budgetary allocations. But a few things do warrant a closer inspection. First, we'll talk about fiscal prudence. What does it mean? It means spending government money responsibly, prudently. You measure it through budget deficit, the difference between expenditure and earning. The lower the deficit, the better. It means you're spending within your means. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman says the budget deficit is expected to go down to 5.1%. It is already lower than expected. The projection was 5.9%. Right now it's 5.8%, and it's expected to go lower to 5.1%. Let me tell you what that means. It means that the government is reining in excess spending. It is not taking on unnecessary debt, meaning future generations won't be burdened with an unsustainable debt bomb. Do you know what the Indian government's single greatest expense is? It's interest on old loans. It was at 10.55 lakh crore rupees in 2023-24, 10.5 lakh crore rupees. It will be 11.9 lakh crores in 2024-25, almost 12 lakh crore rupees of interest. That's more than the government spending on defense and transport combined. This needs to be whittled down, and that's what the Indian government aims to do, tackle the unsustainable debt. This requires a steady hand, a willingness to cut back on extravagant expenses, and that is reflected in today's budget. It also reflects something else, confidence, as the Prime Minister put it. The present government seems confident about its return to power, so it doesn't plan to spend money on wooing voters. Instead, it is tightening its purse strings, confident that its track record will see its return to power. This allows the Indian government to remain financially responsible, even on the eve of elections. The Indian stock markets have noticed this. The major indices fell a little today. Sensex by 0.15%, Nifty by 0.13%, but nothing devastating despite the lack of government largesse. It is a sign of a strong economy, not reliant on handouts. And that is why it's business as usual, and that's a good thing for everyone, even India's neighbours. We took a close look at one area of today's budget, the allocation to India's External Affairs Ministry. How much money are they getting? Specifically, the grants and loans to foreign governments. We give money to other countries in the form of grants and loans. This is to try and get an idea about foreign policy priorities. How much money are we giving to which countries? One point of interest was the Maldives. As you know, India and the Maldives are going through a bit of a rough patch at the moment, with their new president, Mohammad Muizzu, taking every opportunity to insult India. But New Delhi has not taken this to heart. India has allocated more grants to the Maldives than it did last year. India's 2023-24 allocation was 400 crore rupees. This time it is 600 crores. And this is not a hard limit. There can be more. Indian grants to the Maldives were worth almost double of last year's allocation. So we gave them much more than what the allocation was. So President Muizzu's India Out campaign clearly has not broken ties, and there's still hope of the Maldives mending relations with or without Muizzu. He faces impeachment, remember. India's other neighbours retain their usual grants except for one, and that is Bhutan. India's allocation for grants to Bhutan have fallen sharply by almost 600 crores. India does plan to loan more money to Bhutan, but there's a drop in the overall allocation. Having said that, it should be noted that Bhutan receives more money than any other neighbour of India, close to 2,500 crores every year. Compare this to an Afghanistan that gets some 200 crores, and even less for Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. However things pan out externally, it seems the Indian government's domestic agenda is quite concrete, and that stability can only mean good things for India.